Don't Listen Alone, Short Horror Stories by Layla Brinley. Episode 4, Doorway to Utopia. My brother and I went into the basement to grab wood for the fireplace, and we found something very strange. So basically, our mom told my brother and I she wanted to have a fire. Could we get some wood from the basement? So we did, and that's where we are now. But behind the stack of firewood, there's a door, one that definitely wasn't there before. Andrew had noticed it just as we were getting ready to go back upstairs.
"What's that?"
He had said. "It looks like a door," I'd replied. We set down the wood we were carrying and moved the logs out of the way of the door. It was just big enough for me to fit through. I drifted closer, but Andrew pulled on my arm.
"No, don't get closer to it, Ava.
Why not?
We don't know where it goes."
That's why I'm getting closer to it.
"I think we should just go tell Mom and Dad. They can deal with it."
I sighed. Where's the fun in that? Come on, just a peek. Hesitantly, Andrew released my arm.
"Fine, but just a peek."
Got it. I squatted down and reached my hand towards the handle, overrun by curiosity. It seemed to draw me closer. I wrapped my hand around it and pulled the door open. I let out a shocked gasp. It's beautiful. A luscious green jungle lay ahead of me. Thick, rope-like vines hung between the treetops, decorated with impossibly vivid flowers that must have been the size of my head. Brightly colored parrots were sprinkled through the trees, and monkeys swung from branch to branch with practiced ease.
"What are you looking at like you're a princess in love?"
Andrew pushed me out of his way to see the world beyond the door.
"Whoa, it's like my favorite movie just came to life."
You watch jungle movies? I asked.
"What? No, this is a total sci-fi city. Jungles are not sci-fi."
I looked over his shoulder, but all I could see was the delightfully bright jungle. You're just pulling my leg, aren't you?
"No, I'm really not. I see a city with glass buildings and cars that drive themselves and robots tending to every person's needs. What do you see?"
A jungle with lots of stunning flowers and moss that looks as soft as a blanket.
"Huh, maybe we see our dream place."
Maybe, I laughed, closing the door. Something felt very wrong.
"Ava, come on."
I shook the thought clear from my head as I grabbed the stack of firewood and followed my brother upstairs. For the next month, we went to visit our secret door every day. We didn't tell our parents for fear that they would prevent us from venturing to the door again. We also never questioned how it had simply just appeared. Finally, 4 weeks after we'd discovered our little door, Andrew spoke up.
"Ava?"
I barely glanced away from the jungle. I was watching a tiger skillfully stalking its prey.
"Let's go through the door, just to see what's on the other side."
This caught my attention. Why? We can't do that. We don't know what this is. Could be dangerous.
"But don't you just want to see what it's like on the other side? We sit here and stare at it every day, though we've never experienced the world we're seeing."
I shrugged. I guess, but I'm content just watching it.
"Your loss. I'm going through the door. I want to see what's on the other side."
Wait! But it was too late. Andrew crawled through the door and disappeared. Andrew? Andrew? I inched forward, both terrified and intrigued. I wanted to see what was on the other side of the door, but I also wanted to know what it had done to my brother. Finally, I summed up enough confidence to crawl through the small space. Immediately, the jungle I had stared at for weeks disappeared. It was replaced by a black void. Behind me, the door vanished, sealing me in the darkness. I wish I could have said it was silent, but it wasn't. There was a resounding scream, then a thud of shattering bones. "Andrew!" I screamed, distracted from the fact I was sealed in here forever. I fumbled with my phone, which I had extracted from my pocket, attempting to call my parents, 911, anything. Even if my hands had stopped shaking enough to type, and I had stopped crying enough to see, I still wouldn't have been able to do anything. The floor beneath me vaporized, leaving me to fall and fall. But I was too terrified to scream. I couldn't see above me or below me. The blackness was closing in, making me feel vulnerable and small. Finally, I grasped the situation and screamed, hoping someone would hear me, but it was too late. I hit the end of the void with the same crack my brother had. Thank you for listening to the Don't Listen Alone, Scary Stories podcast. Please like this episode and follow the channel. Thank you.